HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. A Town Square media station. What made the beat you could forget about it? Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 HD2 Northport. W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama first and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we played the center and you playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I learned that thing back to biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Okay, so we go to hot 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. The Martin Houston Show simulcast on Facebook and YouTube Live, on Martin Houston Live, as well as at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, reminding you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's take advantage of it and rejoice in it and be glad in it, and do so by noticing someone today, serving someone today, and loving someone today. Man, really be the difference you want to see in the world today. So we got a great show lined up for you. We'll, of course, have our co-host for today, Xavier Houston with X's and O's Sports Podcast, joining us. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing this morning, Dad?
Doing well. Also, we'll have Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Will be joining us later on in the program as well. We'll be talking recruiting. Alabama getting some big news this week, so we'll be bringing him into the conversation. We'll of course pick up the conversation that we were having on yesterday, and I had Xavier into that conversation about the recipe that it will take for Ole Miss to walk away with a victory. As Joe said, what he will need to put around the pepperoni, and of course Matt Corral being the pepperoni to Ole Miss's pizza, and we'll talk about that. So I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904, the Taco Casa hotline open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value, and the biggest cactus in town. 6 locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, West Alabama, a community to better serve you. Also one up in Birmingham off of Lakeshore Drive. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. We'll also bring in, you may have a little different take you want to get in on the conversation, so you're welcome to do so. Also post your thoughts and comments on chat. All right, today we're going to do a little different. We'll do some rapid fire type of stuff, get several different topics, and not just talk Bama. I know you talk a couple other things. I know I'm a meathead for Bama, and don't look at a whole lot of other stuff, but I saw several things you hit this week. But let's get to the Bama game. First of all, last week we were having a conversation around Bryce Young and people saying that Bryce Young, we need a better quarterback. Joe, really, I'm going to blame Joe on it. Joe wrote an article on Ty Simpson just to try to give that man a shout out, not realizing it was going to bring out the crazies from the weirdos that were going to say Bryce Young sucks. But Bryce Young's response in the media when asked was, hey, they're fans. They get to watch the game. They can have their own opinion, but only 2 or 3 people really matter to me, and they're all employed by Alabama. But Bryce Young's response to what was not a bad game in Florida, but a game where he lost focus. Let's be real, where the offense lost focus, and as the leader, he takes responsibility for that. But what was your assessment of Bryce Young's game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call it a bounce back game, he had a phenomenal game, 20 through 22, 5 touchdowns, was able to spread the ball around to different playmakers.
Hold on, I think they said nine different receivers caught passes between the 3 quarterbacks Saturday. 5 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends.
Yeah, when you're able to move I saw a breakdown of the touchdown passes this year, and it was 6 by receivers, 5 by tight ends, and 4 by running backs. So that tells you a little bit of the spread that he has been, with the ball. So it's always a good thing to see when you're not so focused on one play that we're not going to have that guy have a Devontae Smith type season this year, but we're able to see guys make plays across the board, so it gives a little bit more versatility to the offense.
Absolutely. So big game for Bryce Young, near perfection. One incompletion was hit the guy in the hands, and he had an intentional grounding. 20 for 22 was his day. 313 yards, 5 touchdowns, and that could have easily been 21 for 22 with 6 touchdowns. Someone. I heard someone say it was the accuracy on his pass that caused the interception. They said if he had thrown it high, it never would have hit Jameson Williams in the chest and bounced up in the air, because if he had thrown it high, he would have either caught it or it went over his head. But because he hit him right smack between, he didn't have between numbers. He hit him right smack in the number 1 on the shoulder pads. It hit and bounced up. So actually, his interception was a result of him being so point blank accurate. I thought that was pretty funny. Jameson Williams, speaking of Jameson Williams, wow, as this guy gets more comfortable, what is he going to mean to this Alabama team, not just the offense?
Oh, yeah, we knew after the Miami game he could take the top off of the defense, and it kind of didn't happen again versus Mercer or Florida. But to see him take the opening kickoff 100 yards for the touchdown, then turn around and go over the top for an 81-yarder, to drop the pass that led to Bryce's first interception of the season. He turns around and answers it with an 88-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. You're talking about 3 touchdowns over 80 yards. The explosiveness that he brings to the offense, it opens it up. We kind of lost that aspect after Jalen got hurt last year, but he makes things easier for Mechie and the 2 tight ends that we have, and also the running game.
Yeah, he's definitely a game changer, and a guy that we really hadn't talked a whole lot about, but shows the same type of, to me, I call him that Waddle-esque type of explosion as JoJo Earl, who had we not got penalties, we'd be talking a little bit about his punt returns.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, JoJo is more of that. If you look at these 2 explosive guys that we have in Williams and Earl, you compare Earl more to Waddle, while you compare Williams a little bit more to Ruggs, that straight line speed. But both of those guys can add a different dynamic to the offense, especially like we've seen in the kicking game. JoJo, he's come close to breaking a couple. He had the penalties this past week. So it would surprise me if we see him, as he gets more comfortable at the college level, really start to tear teams apart on the punt return.
Yeah, he definitely showing a little, what I call a little wiggle. Well, a guy you talking about coming out of a doghouse with a vengeance, Jaleel Billingsley. I'm not sure whether it was Saban's coaching and patience and mentoring or Cameron Latu's play. But either way, Jaleel Billingsley seems to be back in good graces with Saban, as well as a favorite target for Bryce Young.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing Jaleel come out after being third on the depth chart against Miami to getting back into the starting lineup and being used as efficiently as they've used him the last couple weeks. 2 touchdowns over the last 2 games, over 100 yards against Southern Miss. You know, the awesome thing about Jaleel's skill set is he is a tight end, but he can flex out, he can move, he can make plays. He's truly a big body wide receiver.
Well, he's not as he's not as big as a receiver that we always give credit for starting this whole Alabama run. I mean, Julio Jones coming along today might be a tight end, or maybe we should just start calling Jaleel a wide receiver trapped in a trapped. I mean, I guess a tight end trapped in a wide receiver body would be how you explain it. But Latu is playing well also. I mean, those two are a winning combination. And we had said early on for a young quarterback that was going to be important.
Yeah, definitely. When you look at what Bill O'Brien has done in his past with the 2 tight ends, that's what we were really excited about with him coming in his history in New England with Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. And that's almost the skill set that you have with these guys. Probably a little bit more athletic, honestly. But you have the big physical guy in the 2 that you can run over the middle, while you can play with Billingsley, line them out put them out in the slot, out wide, H-back, put them in that traditional wide position. So I think this is what we've been waiting for, and I'm excited to see what these 2 do through the rest of the season as a duo.
Don't want to get too far ahead because of the run production per se. I know a lot of people may jump out and say, "Oh, well, that's why Brian Robinson doesn't need to be the starter because of what we saw this week." But with that said, B-Rob looking to be back, but it was good to see the 2 young backs step in and run and perform especially well. Perform well, especially Roydell Williams.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and this was the best we've seen the offensive line as far as moving people out of the way in the run game, and the running backs benefited from it. So, you know, if we can get that type of performance this week with Brian and Jason and Roydell, it doesn't seem to be a problem being able to move the ball, especially with the skill sets that all 3 of those guys bring. But seeing Jay bounce back from a pretty bad performance as far as running the ball against Florida was good to see. And then seeing Roydell come in, which was kind of the shocker to me over the weekend, that he played in front of Trey, because everybody's been hyping up Trey and talking about Trey and all this whole time, when it looks like in reality Roydell is the number 3 versus Trey.
Yeah, Roydell's been number 3 all year. I mean, I know we've all loved Trey and what he did against Miami, but Roydell was Trey was a 4th. He was a 4th back against Miami. But what I saw Saturday lets me know that there's a bigger gap between 3 and 4 than I thought, because he didn't even get in the rotation. And DC was on earlier, and I think this may have some. Trey played well that first game, but that body, man, you know, like sometimes I go out and do stuff in the yard, and I look good doing it, but also the next thing you know, guess what? It takes me a week to recover. where it used to take me, 2 hours. And I just wonder if he's having a hard time recovering after he plays and gets hit. And so that may explain it. But a couple quick things before we get to break. Defense is going to be critical to this game. But man, if anybody can lead the way, Will Anderson, a beast, can do that. But him and Phil Mathis will be key to this week.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Lane Kiffin actually came out earlier this week and said that Will Anderson reminded him of Derek Thomas, the late Alabama great. So if Lane Kiffin is worried about Will having that type of game against his team, that lets you know that that he's a key focus for them, which can open the door for other guys to make plays. And of course, Big Phil up front leading the way. He's the heart and soul on that defensive line. So I'm excited to see both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple quarterbacks get some reps. We hadn't talked about it, but Tyson had a nice pass. Miro both had a nice pass. Good to see those guys get a little bit of confidence, but really hoping we don't have to go to those guys. If you're just now tuning in, you're listening to the Martin Houston Show. Co-host this morning, Xavier Houston of X's and O's Sports. We're going to get the break here. But coming back on the other side, we'll continue the conversation and flip the script a little bit on Ole Miss wins if. What's the recipe for Ole Miss to win? We'll talk to X's and O's Sports Xavier Houston on that topic. You're welcome to join the conversation at 205-342-9904.
East at Cottondale and Wildwood Trace has claimed the lives of 2 people and injured others. University Boulevard remains closed at this hour. Please use an alternate route. The month ends today, and that means extra savings at Townsend Nissan. If you need a ride, now's the time to save. I'm Captain Ray.
Indeed helps find great hires fast. Indeed is your all-in-one platform for interviewing, screening, and hiring high-quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan, be a player. Must be 21.
1225 Sports Bar is the place to be on the Strip for your ultimate game day experience. 1225 Sports Bar is located 2 blocks from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Come meet our staff and enjoy some great food and drinks. 1225 is your new way to game day. With over 30 high-def TVs, along with 5 VIP sections available with dedicated servers, security, and bottle service, we're 1225, your utmost game day destination for entertainment, food, and spirits. Get all the details and make reservations at the1225.com or call us at 205-872-1225.
Exam 4 needs to be sanitized. Versana's MRI clinic isn't operating at max efficiency. She needs a new certified tech certifiably now.
Someone's waiting in room 2 for an ACL scan. Can you handle that?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another warm day today. The sky partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers this afternoon or this evening. The high today 85, tonight's low 67. For tomorrow and Saturday, a mix of 5 sunshine both days. Highs between 84 and 87. I'm James Spanel, the ABC.
Partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Look, I don't think, I think the couple times that caught balls against us at Florida in the last game, was because of our sort of lack of execution, not necessarily because the guy, mismatched somebody physically. Obviously, when we played Florida last year and they had Pitts, that was a mismatch. And they took advantage of it, and we didn't do a very good job on him. But we haven't really had a guy like that this year.
Last year, Ole Miss's tight end was a problem for us. So they use the tight end effectively. They play full wideout sometimes and use a receiver like a tight end, and he's very effective. So we're going to have to be very aware of where that particular guy is relative to their play action passes.
And Joe, I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well. Nick Saban seemed to be making an excuse that doesn't seem to be valid. That's just Martin saying this now. He kind of said, well, Pitts had a good game because he was a mismatch. Well, I mean, Ole Miss's tight end ran crazy wild on us last year. Pitts ran wild on us last year. And with what we thought was going to be an improvement at middle linebacker this year, you would say that the tight ends that they've each team has effectively, with the exception of Marshall, used the tight end effectively against us. And I would tell you that Lane Kiffin will find out how to get his tight end open if we're having trouble, because Saban just said it, right? It's not a mismatch this year. So that means that the reason the tight ends have been wide open is execution and mistakes. Does that give you a warm and fuzzy, Xavier? And then I'll have you respond, Joe.
I don't know if Ole Miss has that type of tight end this year, but
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
But if it comes down to just pure execution, then that is a big issue. Southern Miss tight end had a big game.
Florida's
Florida's two tight ends had, I think, 8 or 9 catches combined. I can't really remember if Miami's tight end had a big game.
He didn't have a big game, but he had a couple catches.
Yeah, so that just tells me that either Toto or Harris isn't very good in coverage that you're going to be playing. So, like we said, maybe Moody, who seems to be a little bit better in pass coverage, is an option. And like Saban said, they don't have that true tight end like they had in Diablo, but they have Jonathan Mingo, who's a 6'3", 225-pound wide receiver, that they might just kind of line up as a H-back and use him with his speed like we use Billingsley against him.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, get your thoughts, and then I'll come in.
Well, yeah, I'm with Xavier that they don't have the tight end like Yeboah that they did last season to really threaten us physically. I think what Coach Saban is saying is that when we've struggled against these tight ends, is that we've had some physical mismatches that really we haven't had any good answers for, not schematically speaking. But yeah, Ole Miss's leading receiver from the tight end position this year is Chase Rogers, and the young man has 4 receptions for the season for 18 yards. So hopefully we don't view him as a physical freak and a mismatch. I'm not sure that they have that kind of guy that can test Christian Harris or Henry To'oTo'o this season.
And I agree they don't. But if I watch Florida do it, Florida doesn't have a Pitts or however you say the kid's name from Ole Miss last year, but he was their tight end was running wide open. Southern Miss doesn't have that type of tight end, and he was running wide open. That's what I'm saying, Joe, is we don't have the physical mismatches like we had last year, but the tight end position still seems to be having success.
I'm not worried about Ole Miss's tight end running wide open in the third quarter, beating one guy on a man beater. Like he beat what was it, Daniel Wright on a man beater late in the third quarter. Like, okay, stuff like that happens.
No, you're saying Ole Miss's tight end didn't have success last year?
No, I'm saying last week against Southern Miss.
That wasn't the only time.
Wide open. That we got beat on one play late in the third quarter.
89.
Killing us with a tight end all game. It was one play late in the third quarter.
That's where you and I totally disagree. 89 had about 3 catches early in that game, and what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, what's his name will watch film. I'm not talking about how many times they use Southern Miss use their tight end. I'm saying when Florida went to their tight end, he was generally open, not covered, not a great catch. When Southern Miss went to their tight end early in the game, I'm not talking about the one play against Dane Wright. I'm talking about the 2 or 3 times that Toa and Harris were not covering him, and they were up in the run when they should have been back in coverage. And I'm saying going into a game against Lane Kiffin, who has film, he is putting things in to maximize that. Evan Ingram is just like Jaleel Billingsley to me. What's his name will find a way, and Evan Ingram had success against Saban's defenses. So I'm saying Kiffin will go back and find a way to create more of what we saw despite having a physical beast. I ain't talking about that one time. I'm talking about tight ends are open consistently against Alabama. Other teams just don't stick with it as much as I think Kiffin will, and Kiffin will create. I think he'll come in with a strategy to use it.
Gunner Saturday had 3 catches for 61 yards. So I mean, he had the big 26-yarder, but on the other 2, he's putting up almost 40 yards on those 2 catches as well. So, like you said, Kiffin is a mastermind when it comes to finding mismatches. That's what made him so great when he was off.
Right.
You know, he when he was here, you know, he made Blake Sims, who was a running back when he got to college, look like an All-American. He made Jake Coker a national champion. He took a freshman, Jalen Hurts, who was trying to learn the position of quarterback, and made him the offensive player of the year, not just the freshman player of the year in the SEC. So he'll find a way. And like I say, you look at a guy like Mingo, who's pretty much the exact same size as Billingsley, and you just say, hey, he's a physical freak that I can line up and I can torch Toto or Harris if they're not on their A game.
Yeah, and I don't see him necessarily, of course, having a tight end. What a guy like Kiffin will do, I believe, is take a position that Joe Xavier that is the typical tight end coverage. In other words, I don't know how Alabama gets to their coverages. I don't know if the middle linebacker has the third guy, the fourth guy, whatever. But if we're going to be running man, then a certain guy has a certain number receiver. Where last year they had a tight end in that position that could do it. Kiffin is smart enough and strategic enough that he will, like you say, put a wide receiver in that spot because he knows that his alignment and his personnel grouping will get a linebacker on this particular slot, this particular number receiver, and use that. I don't think it's going to be like a traditional tight end necessarily that Kiffin uses to hurt us. I think he'll use whatever formation Florida used, Southern Miss used, that he used last year to get that coverage that he's looking for. That had I saw a game. I saw one of the catches last night where both Harris and Dylan Moses were both chasing big number 84 down the middle of the field, like falling over each other. And I think he'll try to create that. We got to get to Hank South, but any closing thoughts from either one of you?
I just think that to win this, for them to win this game, they got to move fast and hope Alabama tries to do too much. I think the way that they win this game is if we try to get in a shootout with them. I feel like if we can get a lead, we should not take your foot off the gas, but slow the game down, turn it out, run it more, use all of these backs that we have to be successful.
All right. Hey, since we're going to Hank South next, I'm going to go ahead and bring Curtis in. Curtis, we don't have long, but I definitely want to get you in so you don't have to hold through the break. What's on your mind, sir?
Just that, Martin, you guys going right down that line again about adding to the problems that we're having and we're going to have on Saturday. And the middle linebackers, unfortunately, the same guy who teaches that position is always keeping us in that same conflict. You know what that is. I won't mention his name. It's kind of like Baltimore. But regardless, Kiffin's going to keep our middle linebackers in conflict. He's going to keep doing it. There ain't no doubt about it. But he knows we cannot teach that position to get out of that conflict or how to manage that conflict. He knows that from being on the staff. So we got to just hope that we get a better offensive game plan to counteract the fact that getting Kiffin out of that, because he's forced to do nothing but throw the ball. They got to take away the run from him. You got to eliminate that run.
Right.
Kiffin. They are, even though you don't look like it, they are a very strong running team. Very strong. But we can take away the run, make them go man into that pass, we'll get them.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Beat up on goals there.
If I'm not mistaken, they're one of the top rushing teams in the country. Ole Miss is number 4 in the nation, Curtis. Going into their bye week, they were number 4 in the nation, averaging 298 yards a game. So yeah, you're right. They have a serious running game, and if we let them be multidimensional, then we're gonna have an extremely long night against them. So. But you're right, and that's what I was saying is I don't think it's going to be necessarily a big-time tight end making a play. I think we may not recognize it as the same thing because it may not be number 84 like we had last year against Florida and against Ole Miss. But I think that position, huh?
Who's that kid that Ole Miss goes to now in that same slot?
The slot position, is Dontario Drummond. If that's who you're asking about, he's 6'1", 220, but he's our leading receiver right now. Yeah, and they have him at slot. Yep.
Yeah. I got you. That's gonna be the guy he's gonna use to keep Alabama in conflict at that middle linebacker position. It's gonna be him.
All right. All right. That's. Thanks, Curtis. Thanks for calling. All right, coming back on the other side, we'll catch up with recruiting guru Hank South, 247 Sports. Want to remind you that we have great sponsors: Southmark Design, Overflow Express Wash, Alabama One Credit Union, Alabama One Insurance, and of course our sponsor who sponsors the Taco Casa Hotline, who Hank South will be joining us on Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, a major crash on University Boulevard East in Cottondale and Wildwood Trace has claimed the lives of 2 people and injured others. University Boulevard remains closed at this hour. Please use an alternate route. The month ends today, and that means extra savings at Townsend Nissan. If you need a ride, now's the time to save. I'm Cam Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama One, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
If the Oral-B IO electric toothbrush had a theme song, this would be it.
I think you're gonna want to see this.
Oh, you're going to want to see it, all right. Only IO technology combines Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head with gentle micro vibrations for a clean that'll
make you say wow.
Exactly. Get the wow of a professional clean feel every day with the Oral-B IO.
You're gonna see what everybody's talking about.
Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It is a beautiful Thursday morning. We're moving right along, and I'm not sure if she's up and at 'em this morning, but before we go too long, have to give a shout out to my baby girl, Morgan Houston. She is 21 today. Joe, I'm getting old. When my youngest is 19 and my oldest is 30, yeah. So happy birthday, Morgan. She's doing awesome things at West Alabama in athletic training. So kudos to you, baby girl. Happy birthday to you. May you have many, many more, and may you have all of your dreams and not spend too much of your daddy's money. Amen. So
Yeah, happy birthday, baby face. Big brother loves you. Can't wait to see you again when I come back home. So hope you have a great day, and proud of you and everything that you're accomplishing.
All right, let's get to Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Good morning, Hank. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good. How are y'all?
Doing good. Well, I'll toss it to you really quick to kind of give us an update. Alabama got some big news earlier this week. What Alabama getting in their latest, most recent commit?
Yeah, it's been a minute since Alabama picked up a commitment. Elijah Pritchett, four-star offensive tackle from Columbus, Georgia. Harvard High School announced his pledge to Bama on Tuesday. Over Florida State, Georgia, USC were some of the schools in the mix for him. But really impressive offensive lineman. You know, he's put out a little bit of senior tape so far. Obviously, you can go check out his junior tape as well from last year. But just a really athletic, 6'6", 280 roughly. An athletic kid, he loves contact. He's real flexible. He moves really well. So I'm excited to see more of his senior tape, but I think he has a really high ceiling in terms of how he could develop once he gets to Alabama. But I think a really big pickup, to add along with Tyler Booker and Dane Shore, coming off what you signed last year. With J.C. Latham, Tommy Brockermeyer, all those guys, which was put together one of the better offense, probably one of the best offensive line classes ever on paper. So to come back this year and get these guys on board, potentially maybe even more before the early signing period, I think it's a big deal. So big pickup. It put Bama back up to number 3 in the recruiting rankings. It pushed them, I think, 3 or 4 spots on Tuesday. So they're outside the top 5, and they get Elijah Pritchett to commit, and now they're back at number 3 behind Penn State and Notre Dame. So big news, and certainly welcome news after probably a little over a month without a commitment.
Yeah, Hank, when you're looking as far as the big guys left, who's the biggest push that we're trying to go after so far?
Yeah, there's a few. I think in terms of ranking, obviously Walter Nolan is right there, the 5-star defensive lineman, number 1 ranked player in the country from Tennessee. He's a guy that didn't include Bama in his top 3 a month or so ago, but Bama's obviously still very much in the mix for him. He's going to take an official visit to Tuscaloosa for the LSU game. And obviously, he even said his recruitment is still wide open. So he's still a guy in play in terms of the highest ranked guys. Evan Stewart, the 5-star wide receiver. You got 5-star cornerback Denver Harris. You'll have Bama has another 5-star offensive lineman coming in this weekend on an official visit, and Devin Campbell out of Texas. He's a guy, I haven't talked too much about. He's had Bama in his top 5. Has been talking to Nick Saban, Doug Marrone, Jay Valai. So he's been getting recruited pretty hard, but, it kind of seems like Texas has been trending for him in his recruitment with where things stand. But, coming to Tuscaloosa this weekend on an official visit, maybe Bama can change that momentum, maybe more in their favor. Several guys, 15 commitments, so still plenty of spots to fill. So there's going to be, plenty of action to track through the rest of the fall.
At Hank South 247 Sports, joining this morning, joining the Martin Houston Show. Best follow on Twitter when it comes to recruiting at Hank South 247. And speaking of that, Hank, saw where you said right now at the time you released this, I don't know if it's gone up since Monday or not. Alabama had at least 3 official visits. You just hit one. Who are the other guys confirmed for official visits and maybe some unofficial big names coming to campus this weekend?
Since we posted that Monday, one official visitor has dropped out. There's not a huge surprise. Hero Canoe, he's the 4-star defensive lineman from California. He was supposed to come in on Saturday, but as we wrote, Bama hasn't really pressed for him too hard yet. And so, I think there was kind of just a mutual decision that, it doesn't really make sense to have this visit. There isn't a lot of probably enough interest on both sides at this point. So that visit's off. So there's 2 official visits expected as of now. I don't think that's going to change, but we'll see. I think the major official visitors weekend we'll see is obviously the LSU game in November. But still guys to watch. But besides Devin Campbell, the 5-star lineman, Javante Barnes, the 4-star running back from Las Vegas, he'll be back in town for an official visit. He was on campus in June for an unofficial visit, and he's coming back to check out Alabama again. He's really emerged as a major running back target for Alabama, especially since Le'Veon Moss decommitted last month. So he's been a guy to watch closely, and he's also considering Ole Miss pretty heavily as well. So kind of an opportunity to have him on campus and play in front of one of his other top schools. I think Oklahoma, USC, and I think maybe Georgia are the other schools for him in play right now. But so Devin Campbell and Javante Barnes, 2 official visitors. And in terms of unofficial visits, he doesn't really, in terms of ranking, doesn't really get much bigger than Arch Manning, the 5-star quarterback in the class of 2023. He'll be back in town for an unofficial visit. Obviously, his recruitment's talked about more than anybody's lately. We saw Nick Saban kind of give his subtle recruiting pitch to Arch Manning on Monday Night Football on the Manning cast the other night, which was pretty funny, talking to Peyton and Eli Manning. So they're certainly in play for him. Ole Miss, Clemson, Georgia, Texas. Those are the other schools in play for Arch Manning. So that's going to be a fun recruitment to track. It's kind of interesting because his recruitment's talked about so much, but Arch Manning really doesn't say anything. It's all kind of people close to him. I know Steve Wilfong for 24/7 does a really good job of giving updates on where things stand for him. So that's one to watch. Back to 2022, you got guys like Curtis Perry, 4-star defensive lineman from Montgomery. He'll be in town. Barryon Brown, the 4-star receiver from Tennessee. He's supposed to make it. We'll see if he ends up coming. And then you're going to have I'd say most of the commitments in town in the class of 2022 for Alabama. So they'll have a chance to recruit. And, the list will keep growing. We try to confirm with everybody on Friday and Saturday to make sure they're still coming or see if they've made up their mind on where they're going. And usually you have 10 or 20 kids just at that. So that'll be a good weekend with Ole Miss in town. And certainly, the biggest home game so far that, we've seen since LSU in 2019.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had a big one in T-Town. This one big for many reasons, but definitely because the guy on the other sideline and the hope of the nation that Bama being a dogfight. One quick question on a young man that posted his top 7. You retweeted it out. Who is he? Hadn't heard his name be thrown around yet, but is this a typical, I'm going to include Alabama in my top 7, or is this someone Alabama's really after, talking about Tony Mitchell?
Oh, yeah, Tony Mitchell's a major target. Class of 2023, he's another kid that will be on campus this weekend. He got, Bama's been on him since really the fall of 2019, early on. He has him in the top 7. He's really turned into a national recruit. But I like Bama's chances for him. And people forget he was actually committed to Tennessee at one point. It looked like he was about to flip to Alabama, and he kind of held off, decided to do enjoy the recruiting process, and for good reason. He has a lot of schools after him. So Bama's in the top 7 now. I think he ends up at Alabama personally, but I don't think it's going to be for a while. I think he's enjoying taking visits, getting recruited, and you can't blame him for sure on that.
Speaking with Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Hank, we want to flip the script over to basketball real quick. Nate Oates gets it. I remember when Florida was really good with Urban Meyer and Billy Donovan, how they played off of each other. And it looks like Nate Oates is getting a little bit of that support from Nick Saban, 5-star strong forward Brandon Miller. You talked with him. What did he say about the fact that, and I didn't realize this till I saw your article, that the Bama fans were cheering his name actually in the game?
Yeah, that really impressed him. He said that was the best part of his visit in his mind. And yeah, it's funny because we've seen it before. It's not uncommon for Nick Saban to talk to basketball recruits. We saw it with Avery Johnson. I was new when Anthony Graham was still there, but big time recruits are getting recruited by Nick Saban as well. And he and his family sat down with Nick Saban, and he kind of joked. He said, "Coach Saban doesn't know too much about basketball." Kind of laughed about it. He was like, but he was trying to compare it to football and the same stuff. So that was pretty funny. But Brandon Miller said, I asked him just how was the visit, and he kind of stopped short a little bit, but said like best visit ever, pretty much.
Oh wow!
I think the football game really just that atmosphere and being around all the fans and them acknowledging him. I think that really kind of took him back, and he really liked that. So I think that really impressed him. He was supposed to make a commitment earlier this week. He had a September, I think it was 27th date set. He decided to push back, taking a little bit longer. He told me it's probably not going to be too long before he makes an announcement. When we spoke, but he just wanted to step back a little bit and wait. He has Kansas in the mix, Tennessee State is another school for him, and then the G League is a opportunity he's looking at as well. So that's kind of what Bama's up against. But I think they really helped themselves for him. More so, I think they already had a good shot for him. He's Bama legacy. Has been to Bama several times, but after that last weekend visit, I think he, maybe even a better shot than what they had.
All right. Well, that is Hank South 247 Sports. Joe agreeing, and we're all agreeing. If we could get him, that'd be a big get for the Alabama basketball team, and they're working together. And I'm telling you, when you get a program like Alabama that's establishing football and a rising program like Nate Oates is doing, the combination can be pretty powerful. Hank, you got anything else you want to close out with and tell our listeners what you got coming up next?
No, I think that's, I think we covered it. Obviously, this weekend we'll have, hopefully have plenty of visitors updates with the game happening and the recruits in town. So stay tuned for that. And then I think October will be a good month for them recruiting as well. So good time to follow along.
All right, that's Bama online recruiting guru at 247 Sports as well. Hank South, best follow in recruiting at Hank South 247. Thanks, Hank. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Ron.
Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Alabama One Insurance 2-minute warning.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, University Boulevard remains closed in Cottondale near 2059 because of a fatal crash this morning that killed 2 and injured others. Use an alternate route. If you see other conditions, give us a call. The month ends today, and that means extra savings at Townsend Nissan. If you need a ride, now's the time to save. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. University Boulevard East remains closed at this hour after a 2-vehicle crash around 3 a.m. killed 2 people and injured 2 more. According to TPD, the pickup and car collided near the University Boulevard East intersection with Wildwood Trace. Now, that's the same location where 44-year-old Levanta Caldwell died in a 2-car crash in April. The TPD accident reconstruction team continues to investigate. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. I'm Don Hartley.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
But we have a truck leaving with a big order on Tuesday. Tina's floor manager retired, leaving her tortilla factory flat out.
What do you mean she's on assignment retreat?
She must fill the role and all those orders.
I'll oversee production.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1225 Sports Bar is the place to be on the Strip for your ultimate game day experience. 1225 Sports Bar is located 2 blocks from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Come meet our staff and enjoy some great food and drinks. 1225 is your new way to game day. With over 30 high-def TVs, along with 5 VIP sections available with dedicated servers, security, and bottle service, we're 1225, your utmost game day destination for entertainment, food, and spirits. Get all the details and make reservations at the1225.com or call us at 205-872-1225. Brought to you by AutoZone. Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. In the zone, AutoZone.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show. On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's a Friday. It's not a Friday. I'm sorry. It's a Thursday edition of the Martin Houston Show. We're live and local. We're talking all things Alabama and what Ole Miss could potentially do to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. I don't know if they can or can't, but how we play defense versus Ole Miss is key. Here's what Coach Nick Saban had to say about keys to playing D versus Ole Miss.
Well, I think the players got to get lined up. We can't do too much. Last year we were a young group. They were going fast. We had trouble getting lined up.
You know, we're out of position a lot at times because we're out of position. We missed a lot of tackles. So I think that, you know, we have to play fast. We have to get lined up. Everybody's got to be able to focus on their responsibility because these guys are really good at executing what they do. So you have to be really good on defense at executing what you do. And making mental errors because you're not lined up correctly or don't have good communication is something they'll take advantage of it every time.
They will take advantage of it every time. So one of the things that's going to be key as far as the recipe for beating Alabama is Lane Kiffin finding those things in which he can take advantage of Alabama.
Yeah, no, definitely. If anything, Lane's great at is finding mismatch, and he'll find a way to exploit any hole or any weakness that Alabama allows him to have. Whether, as we said, that be having that tight end, tight player position alignment where they can exploit the middle linebackers, or if it's getting a certain one-on-one matchup on the edges. That's what he's good at, and so that's what Alabama has to prepare for.
You're so right on that. I think another ingredient, and we can, like I said, kick this can and pick up the conversation tomorrow because we really didn't get into it too much. But another area that is part of the recipe is Ole Miss will need to play good defense, and Ole Miss had a transfer that came in from Maryland, Chance Campbell, linebacker. Grad transfer, and it's going to be interesting to see what impact what fingerprint he puts on the game Saturday, along with an edge rusher. And we'll talk about those two guys and whether Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is going to win this game because their offense plays well. Their offense played almost perfect last year. They're going to have to get some help from the defense if they're going to beat Bama. We'll talk about that and more. Tell them real quick, where they can find X's and O's Sports Podcast.
Yeah, you can find X's and O's on all platforms from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and you can also find the podcast on the major podcast channels. But you can follow me tonight live with Titletown TV's Karan Cadell live on Facebook at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Central or Eastern?
Central.
All right. All right. Well, thanks. That's X's and O's, Xavier Houston, X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, guests, especially Hank South this morning for being part of the program. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide and have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9.
Have a good one, Joe.
Tide